And showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. A look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the ChannelPro Network. With me side by side again is my co-host Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement consultant for MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, where are we this week?
We are in Las Vegas, Nevada, Rich.
Viva, indeed. We are right next door to the Kaseya Connect IT event, which is going on right now, and we will be chatting about that in just a minute. But how are you enjoying the show so far?
It's a fantastic event, Rich. I was very, very impressed with just the quality of the presentations, some of the big announcements that we'll be covering today, and just how smoothly everything seems to be going here at the event. It's very well run.
And a pretty good sized show too, something like 1,500 people here. And lots of news for us to cover at ChannelPro. We are doing our best to get all that up for you on the website right now. But clearly the big story, and we were talking about this other day, kind of a no-brainer what we're going to focus on the show this week. Kaseya has acquired ID Agent. Now, I'm going to guess most folks who are watching this are familiar with ID Agent by now. They do web monitoring. Just in the last few months, they got into end-user security awareness training as well. But they're mostly known for that dark web monitoring product, which they introduced to the channel almost exactly 2 years ago. So much to be said about this acquisition, beginning with the meteoric ascent of this company, basically, from no partners 2 years ago to approximately 2,000 now, and now they have been acquired by Kaseya. So what that winds up meaning, basically, from a longer-term perspective, you're going to see some of that dark web monitoring functionality get embedded into other Kaseya products. So really, just within the next 30 to 60 days, you're going to start to see connections between dark web monitoring and that security awareness tool I was alluding to before, where if the dark web tool finds somebody's credentials in the cybercrime black market, it can alert the training tool. The training tool knows, Rich Freeman may not be up to speed on his security best practices. We'll sign him up some training. You're going to start to see that kind of thing happen across the Kaseya portfolio over the months ahead, where when the dark web tool spots something, a stolen password, it can notify the security software that you need to be blocking attempts to take advantage of this account. It can tell the RMM system. It can add something to a documentation record in IT Glue. So they're really going to be embedding that functionality throughout the portfolio. They're going to have a lot more resources than they had access to in terms of expanding the platform, adding capabilities, adding partners. So they were already growing very, very rapidly. I think you're going to see ID Agent grow even more rapidly. And here's something that I haven't actually had a chance to report on the site yet as well, but we'll be writing about later. Kevin Lancaster, who's the CEO of ID Agent, founded the company. He is staying on with Kaseya, and he's actually going to be running their security business going forward. And this is all so new that when I was asking him yesterday, what's your title now, he didn't even know, and Fred Vacola, the CEO of Kaseya, wasn't sure yet. But basically, the ID Agent products, the Auth-Anvil identity access and management solution, and the CyberHawk product from Rapid Fire Tools will all report up to Kevin Lancaster now, and he will be looking at ways to weave those together into more of a security portfolio. So Kaseya is roughly a $300 million a year business now. Apparently, security accounts for approximately 25% of that. So Kevin Lancaster overnight has gone from running a startup he built to a pretty impressive vendor to running a $75 million a year business.
Very impressive, Rich. And, it's really interesting, the vision that Kaseya had laid out as we were watching the keynote presentations yesterday, you and I, about the integration of all these products and how tightly integrated the vision is moving forward, so that that single pane of glass that we're always talking about is not just some kind of a cosmetic integration. It's a true code level integration. So as you mentioned, managing hundreds or thousands of users and monitor those domains and those email accounts for customers, and then having the ability to identify when some of those credentials are compromised is, I think, a powerful selling point, and I think a very valuable asset for MSPs to introduce to not only existing clients, but use as a selling tool for new prospects as well. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and and what you're saying that calls to mind this enormous trend in the industry right now, which is just companies like Kaseya and ConnectWise and SolarWinds MSP building out these tightly integrated suites of products that span across RMM, BSA, security, BDR, et cetera. And there was a lot of talk during the general session yesterday from Fred Recall about the tighter level of integration that they're going to have going forward among their products. They remain committed to openness with other vendors. They've got APIs. They're going to continue supporting those APIs. They understand that a lot of MSPs like to mix and match products from different vendors. But they're definitely going to be looking for ways to provide extra value to the folks who buy across that Kaseya portfolio. I think you're going to see a lot of that from the other vendors as well.
Yeah, we'll wait and see.
Well, we're here at a vendor event. There's technical training available to the attendees here as well. But Eric, your tip of the week has to do with another kind of training that people should be spending at least as much time and attention on.
Right, Rich. So I did an entire pre-day here on Monday, 4 hours on selling cybersecurity. And, it strikes me as I work with more and more partners, and, it never was top of mind to me, Rich, until I started really helping folks with their sales outcomes. But think about this, it takes about 10,000 hours for someone to be considered a subject matter expert in a particular field or competency and things like that, right? So that's about 5 years of someone's time invested in just learning and doing that thing to become an SME. And I queried my audience during the pre-day on Monday, and I said, how many of you would consider yourselves SMEs on technical service? And just about everybody in the room raised their hands. And I said, well, how many of you would consider yourselves SMEs on sales? Not so many hands went up. And it's this thing where the technically minded business owners of MSP practices, IT practices, et cetera, understand the value of training their technical staff, right, on the cutting edge technology, making sure they're certified, making sure that can deliver, support the solutions that they offer. So they'll invest in training and certification for the technical side of the house, but not quite as many see that same need on the sales side of the house. So the tip of the week this week is invest in your sales training just like you're investing in technical training for your teams. Otherwise, you've got a mismatch. You've got SMEs that are dragon slaying engineers that can go out and build and support anything, but then the sales team's acumen is not quite as up to par with the acumen of the technical team. So you've got to level that playing field. Let's invest in our sales teams and our sales professionals, get them the sales training that will make them better sales professionals, which also pays tremendous dividends to them as well as your organization.
And technical training is the biggest no-brainer, basically. With any VAR, any MSP, they're not even going to think twice about whether or not that's something they should be spending time and money on. The same thing really should be true with respect to sales training. And the only thing I would add to that, is if you, as the business owner, are not the person who's taking that training, if you don't enjoy sales, you don't want to do sales, you don't want to invest energy in training yourself on sales, then hire somebody who will. But you need to have somebody in the business who is focused on sales and who is trained to do it well if you want to grow the business anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, you need someone spending 8 hours a day, every day on sales activities, just like you expect your technical team to spend 8 hours a day, every day delivering service.
Well, we have got time for just one more story this week, and it has to do, or comes from a research study done recently by the folks at Last One, a security company. They went out and polled a whole bunch of security professionals about a bunch of different things. There was one particular result that caught my attention because it tells you there might be a little friction out there between security professionals and the people they're responsible for protecting. In this poll, nearly a third, 31.5% of the security professionals who were polled said that they believe at least half of their employees think the cloud is literally in the sky. So maybe not so much respect, regard from the security pros for the folks that they're dealing with. And, you know, maybe given some of the security snafus we hear about, maybe that's entirely understandable.
Blows my mind. So up there with Lucy and her diamonds?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was heartbreaking news for me to discover the cloud actually isn't in the sky. I'm one of those guys, but turns out it's not.
Who knew?
So thank you very much for joining us once again on the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. That's all the time we've got this week. If you like the show, you would like to keep up with it, see some future episodes, maybe take a look at some past ones you missed, best thing to do is subscribe to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube, and we will keep you informed about all that. You want to read more about the Kaseya Connect IT event? We've got lots more coverage out of the show up there right now, more coming today. And all sorts of other great content for you every day. The place to go is channelpronetwork.com. To learn more about Eric and his business and the work he does with his clients, go to ericksimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. So once again, thank you for joining us. We'll be next week with another episode, 5-Minute Roundup for you. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week
already.